Hello there, and welcome to the second episode of the Park and Bennis podcast line of duty sort of element to it. And we thought because the last one, we got a lot of people talking because this is such an amazing series that we thought we would do another one and sort of mid to end of the series, and then we'll probably do one either after, well, we'll do one after the series or maybe the one before the last episode, or we'll think of something. But yeah, for this one, I think Sam unfortunately had to pull out, so we've got a new AC12 recruit in Jake. Jake, you okay?
Yes, good.
Yeah, and joining me again is Aaron. Are you okay, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing good, mate. The ones are going up. Jet Mercury is on fire, so what's not to like?
You still have to get whoppered in it, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
I'm gonna get me obligatory Eddie Howe reference out the way now. If I say
Go on, then.
I'm gonna go the whole podcast without mentioning Eddie Howe. Someone's always in the mud, and I always compare them to Eddie Howe, and that's normally when that reference comes into it. Maybe who's in the mud with Eddie Howe, Ryan or Case?
Ryan Pilkington is definitely in the mud.
Yeah, they ruined that with the trailer, really. They did. But yeah, I just want to throw it out to start off by a statement by saying I think Series 6 is by a distance my favourite series of Line of Duty.
Yeah, I think potentially. I mean, this is the first series I'm watching like every week because obviously I only got into it during lockdown, so I was able to watch it back to back on Netflix and TV Star Player. Watching it like this, it just raises the tension so much, and Jen Mercurio is an absolutely fantastic writer. So yeah, I think I don't disagree with that statement whatsoever.
I think we're all in the same boat in that regard, all watching the first series live.
Maybe that's a part of it, but I just still think the content in this series is just so good. We've had 2 episodes so far, 4 and 5, which are me are the best they've ever made.
I think I don't disagree at all. I think the last one definitely is the best. I definitely think episode 5 is the best they've made.
Yeah, I agree.
I still think the series 3 finale is better than the one before that, but that's just a testament to how good that episode was.
Yeah, I think they're all so good. It's impossible to compare. I just think
I don't think there is a bad episode.
No, I've never been disappointed by an episode of Line of Duty. Put it this way. The only thing I've ever been disappointed with Line of Duty, and you can get the bingo card to tick her off already, is Steph Corbett's horrendous Scouse accent and a horrendous acting. I think she's as disappointment of this show goes. She's the only accent. It's pretty terrible.
Is it really that bad? Because I cannot tell.
Oh no, it is bad. Come on, Jake, back me up on this.
Yeah, it is bad. She emphasizes the wrong things. Like any word with like the letter O in, it's just embarrassing.
Ooh. This is 3 people now, Aaron. Owen Doyle said something similar in the chat the other day.
We need to write into Shrine Pod because they think the accent's amazing.
Oh no, it's horrific. I only have, every time she's got a scene, you just go on Twitter and there's about 40 different tweets saying how bad her accent is.
I bet she'll pull a John Corbett and be from Northern Ireland. That would explain a lot. You know, other than the actress just being terrible at having an accent.
The best thing I ever saw come out of this was after the first episode of this series where someone said, "Is John Bishop a voice coach or something?" Because it's so bad. But apart from that, role is pretty interesting. But we'll get into the characters in a minute. Just as a quick question to both of you, what has been your favourite sort of moment of the series so far? I think mine was where we left the last episode off.
Got to be the last one. Like, I mean,
I
think I'm getting that on a t-shirt. Seriously, I promise you, I'm getting that on a t-shirt. Like, because I've been watching, obviously, because I'm watching season 6 like every week. I'm basically feeling that with I have been with Breaking Bad because my brother was home from uni. He's obsessed with that, so I've been watching Breaking Bad in between. That's a seriously good show. And you know, there were obviously Breaking Bad is one of the greatest shows in TV history, in my opinion. There were so many outstanding moments, but like I tweeted as soon as series 5 finished, I tweeted the kind of the back end of that of season 5 is up there with the best TV I've ever watched. And then Line of Duty goes and does this with Ryan Pilkington versus Kate Fleming, and it's just the standards they set is just unbelievable. I was seriously on the edge of my seat. I wasn't having that they were going to kill off one of the main characters halfway through the season, and then they end it with 2 gunshots with a black screen. And
the bigger question is who shot Ryan? Who shot Ryan is the bigger question.
Yeah, I seen I saw a theory. I think it was actually from Owen Doyle. They suggested that Ted and Steve came on the scene in the last minute and had a go.
No, I think it's too far away for them because when you see the trailer, I think Joe could have had a secret concealed firearm on it and potentially could have.
I'm not sure. If you remember, she was screaming. She screamed no. I feel like the way that went was kind of in a heat of the moment, and there was too much. I think it would have happened too quickly for her to suddenly pull out a gun. I think we all know it's probably going to be Kate and Steve firing the guns.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think the most likely is probably the most boring, and it was just Kate, because I heard before they're obviously Kate's trained AFO, and AFO protocol is 2 shots, so I'd imagine it's just Kate.
Yeah, I think I do expect it to be Kate. I think again we mentioned it before. I think the trailer does ruin it a little bit. We know that Kate survives. I think there was a screenshot from the trailer of somebody lying on the floor, which we can guess is probably Ryan. So that's disappointing that we almost know that Ryan died. But I think I predicted that Ryan died in a way, mainly because I just can't see Kate them killing off a main character this early on. I know it's near the end of the season, but it just seems a bit mad to kill off someone as important as Kate.
Yeah, I think that's definitely my favorite moment of the series so far, because I think it's just so tense and it's Kate stealing the show really for me. I think this last episode, so I think Kate really sort of stole the series in terms of the main characters for me.
I'm still questioning whether Kate's undercover or not. I don't think she is, but
no.
I'm still questioning it.
No,
a little bit.
I'm not sure. I think that's kind of dead in the water now.
Yeah, I think we've seen the extent of her relationship with AC-12 so far. She's just working with them, not actually working for them.
Yeah.
But in terms of favorite moments for the series, I'm going to throw another one in there. I disagree with what you two have said. My favorite was the ambush scene in episode 4.
Yeah.
I think that was like the best scene ever. It was just like so intense, and it lived up to the expectations, because obviously we all had high expectations for their episode, and that just tipped her off. Like there was so much drama from breaking Jimmy out of the prison, and then the actual shootout, and is Steve going to die or not?
Did either of you question Chloe after that moment? Just for a little bit.
Immediately after, because she looked dodgy. She looked like terrified in the van, like she knew something was going to happen.
Yeah, there was also that she was going to go and open the door, but she wasn't tall enough, so she got the other officer to do it, and died. So I think that's probably dead in the water now after the last episode. But I did question Chloe for a little bit. I thought that it would be similar to Monique in that she was doing better stuff against her will, and she'd be killed off when she was finished with. I wouldn't actually be surprised if she still dies, but yeah, I think her being benched probably out of the question now, especially since she's carrying this case on her back.
We basically then, I think how to sort of carry on for me is to go through all the main characters, discuss their moments, and then see what we think. We start with Ted. Ted's on his lassies, isn't he? I mean, he's not got long left in terms of in charge of AC-12. I think in terms of one-liners and sort of catchphrases, I think he's brought us in spades this series, and I feel really sad for him, to be honest.
That mother of God at the end of episode 4.
Yeah.
That was deep.
But yeah, he's on top of his game this series in terms of Tedisms.
Yeah, definitely.
We knew shit was going down when he said that mother of God.
Yeah. I mean, it's a shame we didn't do this last week because we'd have talked for an hour about who her blood relative was, and we'd have all ended up saying Tommy Hunter probably.
I was between Hunter and Corbett. I think my thing with Corbett, as Owen, I thought it was Corbett because as soon as Joe threw that glass at the photo at the end of episode 1, I thought, I said, is that Anne-Marie? Okay, this is her name, Anne-Marie. Yeah. I thought that might have been Anne-Marie. It kind of stemmed from that. I also thought, Steph's in the series. She's been quite heavily into it. I thought maybe she could be in it for another reason other than shagging Steve. So I thought maybe it would be cool, but I did think it was cool up until the reveal.
She's in it for something else.
Yeah, I do think that. Obviously, it probably isn't too cool bit now. But yeah, I think.
Ted, anyway.
Yeah, I think Tommy Hunter doesn't surprise me. I saw a bunch of those rumors beforehand. It's really the Scottish accent, to be honest, that kind of people guessed that link them together. But yeah, like I said, I'm not surprised that it was Tommy.
No, me neither. I think the thing with going back to Ted anyway, I think the thing I hope is that I think whatever happens now, he will leave AC12 at the end of this series. I just hope that he's got some sort of peace of mind leaving, and he isn't leaving over this big question mark over the situation with him and Steph Corbin, the money, but also this whole institutionalized corruption. I hope he gets the crack and then leave on a high, but I can see him cracking it, and then the money he gave to Corbin, I think it could come back to bite him, and maybe anything of all of their sort of investigation becomes inadmissible. I don't know, maybe.
I hope the moment he sees Carmichael in the next episode, he channels his inner Britos.
Carmichael will get to her in a bit. No one annoys me quite as much as Pat. But yeah. I mean, did they have to release that she was coming back before we actually saw her? Couldn't we just wait?
I mean, I got really hyped up when I saw and
I would have screamed if I had saw her in
there. Is the name? I was seeing hyped up when I saw her name.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they could have really have just waited, couldn't they, before they gave that kind of information away. But hey, but yeah, do we agree that Ted will definitely leave AC12 at the end of the series, or do we think he'll be able to
well, he's been forced to retire, isn't he?
Where's he living at the moment? I had someone bring that.
They're merging the units together, and he's been forced to retire. And I feel like that isn't the sort. No matter what happens by the end of the series, I don't really think that's something that will be reversed. And if the units being merged together, I don't think Ted will be in charge. So I do think he's probably going to be off at the end of the series.
Interesting, yeah. I just really hope he leaves with some peace of mind.
I don't think it's for certain that Ted's going to leave, although I would say it's most likely. I just think because we're most likely going to see the downfall of the top man, that there might be a whole change of attitude throughout the force, and officers like Ted might be more welcome. But he is getting on, and once this case is over, it's about whether he'd have the motivation.
Yeah,
things like that.
Because if we get it right before sort of this sort of new Gale Vela Operation Lighthouse came on the scene for AC12, they were just issuing yellow notices for stuff, and they weren't really doing much already. So it'd be a question of if he solves this, would he want to do that? I doubt it.
I'm worried they're going to kill him off, he's in there.
Oh, that's
as if he's in line of fire or something. And I will cry if Ted dies.
Yeah, I could see that being a possibility.
I don't think it would be like an arranged murder or something. I think it would just be like he's in a gunfight with OCG members and somebody shoots him. Or even he sacrifices himself for someone. I think it would be something along those lines rather than a planned murder. But like I said, I will cry if Ted dies.
Yeah, that would be an incredibly sad moment. But yeah, I think what do think about the situation with the over 50 grand, do you think that'll just be forgotten about, or do you think it really will come back to bite him?
It's only Steve and Kate in the police that know about it, and I think Steve's loyal to Ted, and he understands why he did it. So I don't think Steve's gonna grass on him. It's all to do with whether Chicken Licken herself is gonna grass on Ted. I think that's the only way anyone can find out.
Maybe, yeah. I think there's so many questions. I think I hope there's this kind of idea that Ted could be H. I hope it's in the bin now, because I just don't think it'd be a nice story for people to see.
I think Ted being H, that moment's past. I think him being investigated so heavily by Carmichael, who I think is clearly an excellent detective. And the fact that he was proven not to be H, I think that moment's past. I hope he's an H either. I just don't think it would work. I think he's obviously up there in like the high ranks of the police force, but I just don't think he strikes me as an H.
No, I think that idea is sort of dead in the water now, and I think the thing with Ted is he's coming towards the end now, and it's his mission to solve this looming question that sort of brought the end of his career because of the powers that be have been trying to stop him. So that's what about the end of the series is for Ted, I think, and his one-liners have been amazing.
What I do wonder is if Ted does lead the show, but there is a series 7, because obviously we don't know if H is going to be revealed, whether it's a he or a place or whatever. We don't actually know if H is going to be revealed this season. So I just wonder what happens if H isn't revealed this season. Therefore, they're likely going to be a season 7, but without Ted, or at the very least without Ted being, superintendent.
Oh God, that would be a worry. I don't think he'll do that, but we'll see. Ultimately, it's a waiting game.
The thing that worries me about the potential of another series without Ted in charge is who would be in charge, because you need a superintendent in charge of that unit, don't you? And you've got and there aren't really any DCIs. Kate and Steve are both DIs, aren't they? So the only person who could really head up AC-12 if Ted leaves is Carmichael, and we don't want that.
Carmichael is one of the main characters of season 7. Nah.
Unless Kate gets another promotion.
Well, that'll be 2 promotions in the space of series 6 and 7.
That would fuel the suspicions of her being H, or at least her being Ben.
No, I don't think she's H anymore. I know we've discussed this before the series.
Either. But I think the suspicions will be very strong if she gets 2 promotions in 3 seasons.
Yeah, but Rose Huntley was a DCI before she was 30, remember? I remember someone bringing that up. So, yeah. Steve maybe, but then he's only just got a promotion, so he's not going to get another one, is he?
Steve can barely walk. I can't see him being Ben.
If Steve left the force at the end of the series, I wouldn't be surprised either.
What do we think about him and his back problem?
Well, we'll move on to Steve now then. Them back problems. Do we know if he's got the results back for this drug test and the actions they're going to take?
Well, he keeps using messages, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really unsure as to how that's developed, because we haven't really. No one else has mentioned it. It's just been notifications on his computer screen.
I feel like if he'd broken the protocol and taken too many of those tablets or whatever, they wouldn't have just emailed them. They would have come taken him away, wouldn't they? They wouldn't have just carried the job.
At the very least, he'd be on desk duty.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they're worried about his back, and that's what the emails are for.
We've never seen the full title of one of those emails, have we? So we don't know if he actually took the test. Obviously, he went to get it done at the end of one of the episodes, but we don't know if it actually happened. They could be just trying to follow up with him to get him to do the test.
Maybe he made an excuse when they tried to, try and test him, and he said no. So maybe, I don't know. But yes, Steve, the series. I think Steve, what I would describe Steve as this stage is a bit of a lone wolf. He's a bit on his own, isn't he? He doesn't feel like he can trust anyone, and Kate's got off. He doesn't trust Chloe at all, and Teddy doesn't even trust him now. So he's a bit on his own.
Yeah, I think that'll be an interesting dynamic to be fair by the end of the season because I mean we don't really be surprised if something happens to Steve, like not like fatal or anything, but just something happens that he's gonna need backup.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing for me with Steve is, will he get this transfer?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think he's gonna just hold off because I don't think he'll leave for the end of the season. I think that sort of thing would happen at the start of a new season.
Yeah. He's just brought it up in the sort of the pipeline.
I don't think he's even considering it now that he's been promoted to the eye and he's got this big Gail Vell case to solve.
Yeah. I think case is close. He might.
Well, I reckon Steve will leave. I reckon Steve will leave, but only after they call H.
Yeah. And the last of the main characters is Kate. As usual, we don't know a lot about what's going on in Kate's personal life. We see a lot of texts, a lot of things on her phone. She's very good as a detective again this series. I think it's very much series 1, series 3 Kate, where she's completely on the ball, and not series 2 Kate, where a cover gets blown after about 30 minutes into an episode. So she's detective work. She's doing really well this series. It's quite kind of annoying she's on the hill and not in AC12. I will admit that. But apart from that, I think she's obviously in danger because the top man / the OCG are after her because they don't want to solve the case like Gail Vella. And even though she's probably she's seen off Ryan, there's so much. This is not the end of Kate's worries, I think, and plus her personal life stuff, and we don't know where it is. So I think she's in a lot of danger coming into these last couple of episodes.
I take it. We don't still think she's going to be investigated like Stephen and Stephen said.
No, but I think she will be now because obviously if she shot Ryan,
or been involved
in them, she'll have to be investigated. I think I can see a situation where she'll be stitched up for something. She'll spend the last couple of episodes in some sort of prison.
Do you know what? I just thought of? It's from the trailer, really. I'm presuming that she was caught having shot. Well, we presume she shot Ryan. In the trailer, there was a thing where a bunch of helicopters went over her head. She had her hands up with Joe. If that's like the next part, that could kind of lead on to her being investigated for Ryan's murder. Because obviously, we presume Joe is the only witness, but that might not be true.
True. Plus another thing as well. One thing that keeps coming up this series is when Kate was following Ryan to the lake where he was trying to see off poor old Terry.
Mm.
Well, Joe keeps bringing up that when she was following, she never called for backups or anything that. So that could be brought up. Joe sort of dobs her in for that.
You know what? I'm quite confident of this now because if you remember, Joe tried to back out of it, and they told her she wouldn't be done until Kate was done with. Obviously, we presume if Ryan's dead, Kate isn't done with, but we presume Joe's the only witness to the murder. So
yeah,
I think Joe will probably end up stitching her up to try and get out of her own situation.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, Kate now knows that Joe is involved in the OCG. She knows that Ryan and Joe she was on the phone to Steve before, and I just can't see a way where Joe gets out of this without being in prison.
Yeah, I think Joe definitely ends up in prison.
Yeah, I know we did. Did we see Buckles in the last episode? Just out of,
I don't think we did.
No, that's interesting. The only time we saw him was when. Well, we'll get on to that in a bit. So yeah, and then the last one person of interest is Joe. Obviously, we've learned that she's Tommy Hunter's daughter / niece / whatever, because there's all kinds going on in that family that we haven't learned about. And there's just so much going on there with her. She's obviously in sort of the pocket of the OCG. She's leading this Gail Village case. There's just so she's obviously a bit unstable mentally because every time she's alone, she seems to have these kind of breakdowns. I mean, she's easily manipulated and she manipulates people easily as well. I just don't think it's going to end well for this character. But do you think ultimately we'll end the series feeling sympathy for Joe because we don't know the full sort of extent of the corruption, really?
Yeah, I think Joe's doing all this against her will. I think the breakdowns are quite telling. I don't think she wants to be doing this. Obviously, she said she wants to back out, and they won't let her back out until Kate is done with. So I think we'll probably end up feeling sympathy, but I don't think it'll end well for her at all.
No. Yeah. So that in mind, I think we will just crack on with the sort of story. For me, the thing with this whole series and this whole investigation is there's so many parallels into real life. So the Lawrence Christopher case has sort of got links to the Stephen Lawrence case. There's been mentions of Jimmy Savile, Cliff Richard. For me, that's just as sort of a way of saying that okay, this might be a TV drama, but this is also this kind of thing is this corruption, this sort of manipulation of power. It happens in real life too.
Let's not forget a barefaced liar promoted to our highest office.
Oh yeah, we know about that. So there's a lot of sort of say that again.
I love Ted Hastings, man.
Yeah, there's just so much going on in terms of real life comparisons. So and it was while the Gale Mares has been there's comparison to the Jill Dando situation, and obviously she was listening to the Daniel Morgan podcast, so that's been brought into it. So there's so much going on. I think ultimately, who do we think killed Gail Vella?
Yeah, I was just about to mention that because I think I feel like the actual murder's kind of been going under the radar because there's just so much else.
Definitely. Until this morning, I thought the murderer was Ryan, but having thought about it now, Ryan, when he was about to kill Kate, and she called him a little boy, which still makes me laugh.
That was I think that might have been a bit of a callback to series 1 where she says something similar in Ryan.
Yeah, she can put him but during that he says, ask John Corbett, ask Monique Bindra. He didn't mention Gail Vella. If he'd done it, if he was presuming he was going to kill Kate after that, he'd have said he killed Gail Vella too, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
So maybe I don't know. I don't think it's that Carl Banks one, which we found out was Lee Banks' brother, which I'm quite proud I got that right.
We don't think it was Terry, do we?
No, it wasn't Terry. What a twist that would be now that all this was going on. It was poor Terry anyway.
That'd be mad.
No, I don't think we haven't seen Terry for a couple of episodes, and I don't think we will see him either. But yeah, I could imagine it was just I think Gail was probably just killed by a random OCG person, but the sort of crux of it being it was from H or the top man or woman. But yeah, that hasn't been sort of as important because of what's happened with sort of the corruption in terms of what's been involved in terms of what they've been investigating all this time. Jake, do you have any thoughts on that, the actual murder of Gail Vella?
Until literally right now, I've always thought it was Ryan Pilkington. I thought there's been so many clues throughout, from Terry saying it was the other man. And the only other person we know Terry's close to really is Ryan. Also, there's been a few times when someone's mentioned Gail Vella's murder and then the camera's panned to Ryan. But now that you've said that was a really good point. He would have said that, wouldn't he? He's admitted to all the he knows his days are numbered, so he would have said it then. The only other person of note that I can imagine it being, and I'm not saying that I'm convinced of this now, but it is Joe. They've got something to block around. And I think she might.
That would be crazy.
I do think that's a good point there, that Terry keeps saying the other man or the other one, which really, I think, really implies that it's somebody that he does know whether well or not. So who knows, maybe it'll be something going back to season 1 where there were a bunch of OCG members in his house. I also thought it was Ryan, I wasn't certain. It was more of just a suspicion because I didn't think Ryan would actually be the murderer, like the central kind of theme of that side of the story. Obviously, I don't think it's going to be Ryan now, but yeah, I think that the Terry point I think Terry thinks a good point.
Yeah, I just, for the life of me now, I think if it was Ryan, we'd have found out then. I think that would have just been a nice time to sort of, but I can see it being. Do we think that? Do you know when Doc killed Lindsay? Do we think the top man could have actually done this?
Well, actually carried out the murder himself.
Mm-hmm. Unlikely, but
I don't think H is the type of person that would get his hands dirty. I think he'd have basically have his cronies doing it all.
Oh, here's another theory for you. That, well, James Nesbitt / Farewell could he have done it because he was brought into him. There's no way he's going to be the top man because we've literally heard his name in dispatches in series 3 and the last episode. He's not going to be the top man, but potentially he could be the one who did the murder. I don't know.
I'm not sure. I think we've barely seen him for me to know for sure on that. Obviously, he's only just been mentioned. So,
but he was the guy that had been mentioned before but not seen.
Yeah.
Oh, was he? Yeah.
Yeah, but he was mentioned in series 3.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I don't think Farewell killed him, and I'll tell you why. Because he's in Spain, isn't he? So
no, he isn't in Spain anymore. He was last seen in Spain, and then he went off the radar.
Well, we know someone is in Spain or using an IP address in Spain.
And it's not Nigel Moore.
No, it's not Nigel.
He's not in Spain. No one's mentioned him ever being in Spain.
I can't wait for him to return and be revealed that he's the killer this whole time.
Oh, if Nigel Morton returns, you'll hear
my with the walking stick.
And boring with me.
Mark my words, he did it with the walking stick.
Do you know when they were showing Farewell's old team of Osborne and Buckles in?
Oh.
I was convinced I was going to see Nigel Morton on that. I don't know why.
I was thinking about this before, and I wouldn't rule out Nigel Morton actually having been on that team because it was Chloe that revealed all their information, wasn't it? And Chloe won't know about Nigel Morton. She knows Osborne. She knows Buckles.
That team would have been a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Than that. Potentially, yeah. She's not going to know Nigel Morton, is she?
No, and something that we do know, Nigel Morton's been a DC for 30 years.
Good point. Yeah, we knew that.
You're fueling my suspicions. I can't wait for Nigel to kill Gale.
Nigel didn't kill Gale. He just tips off the press, doesn't he?
He's just a massive dickhead.
He's not, though, is he?
We're
going to have one of these Eddie Howe, Ralph Aspinall shout on Nigel Morton here, aren't we?
I don't have the effort.
No one has the effort. Oh god. No, I think we've probably seen the last of it. You know what makes me really sort of happy is his last words in Line of Duty were immunity.
Yes.
I love the man. Oh, good old Morton.
I still think he could return. I don't think he'll be I don't think what I said before is actually true. It's just a possibility. I think he could be key in solving the case because he's still got Dot's real phone, hasn't he? Do we know they actually handed over all their information? He could have kept.
No, he well kept that phone.
No, I mean to AC12 when he went in to ask for immunity. Obviously, he would have kept some of the information. He
wouldn't have given that phone over. Because if he'd have given that phone over, it has all contacts on and everything.
Yeah.
We'd have solved the case 3 years ago.
But the thing is, did Dot actually know the top man?
I don't think he did.
No. Do we think anyone knows the top man? Anyone?
Potentially.
Angela Wise.
Oh, or could she be the top woman?
I disagree. I don't think she's bent.
You know what? We're going on to this of the H theory. Well, I think if H is a person, I think it's going to be Osborne. But my main theory right now, something I've seen and definitely believe now, is that H isn't a person; it's a place, and H stands for Hillside. And I think Hillside will be the place where all the police officers, all the bent coppers, are basically kind of produced and put out. And I think Andrea Wise is the person that picks them all. And, deems who's good enough to be the bent copper. And
But then she would be
all
the
that.
top woman, then, wouldn't she?
Yeah, but I think I'd probably say she picks them, but it's under Osborne's orders.
After this episode, I know you. I think both of you disagree actually, but I'm convinced Carmichael's bent.
I disagree.
Convinced.
I don't think she's
No.
bad. I think she's just really, really annoying.
Yeah, I
No,
agree.
I think she's so dodgy.
I think she's literally just one of those careerists who just cares about her career and just wants promotion and do everything she
Yeah.
can to get promotions.
No, I just think she's so dodgy. It's unbelievable.
You know what? Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't be surprised if she's bent. She does act really dodgy, but I think
She's so Jill Bigelow, but I like Jill Bigelow.
Yeah.
I don't like her.
I do see that, but I think she's just really annoying.
Oh, there's that scene in series 5 where Jill and Carmichael had a 1v1. It'll never be beaten on TV.
It's not. It's okay.
Why
it's
I
okay.
informed about you just was.
It was okay. It wasn't quite Kate's conversation with her. What's she called? I can't remember her name.
Oh, she's well. Here we go. She's been listed by the BBC for the last episode.
Has she really?
The one who Kate told to stop making a tit of herself.
That's the one. Yeah.
She's in the last episode, and this is confirmed. This isn't the IMDb where I can go on and say Denton's in it. This is the BBC. Is actually official.
Okay. Now I'm very excited.
Fake Kate's in the last episode. Why I don't know. I thought she just told. No, but such here. She looks like a fake Kate, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does. I see that.
There has to be.
Yeah,
there has to be a good reason to bring her back. And I'm just thinking, Jed loves a bit of irony, doesn't he? Wouldn't it be ironic if she was responsible if Carmichael is bent, if she was responsible for Carmichael's downfall?
Oh, that would be amazing. Awesome. But she was so bad.
Do you reckon it'd be like a revenge sort of thing? Because she Carmichael made her get a transfer. Obviously, it cost her.
Yeah. God, they all ask for the other people to get transfers, don't they? They love the transfer. Danny Waldron, I'm telling you, he asked for about 3 people to get a transfer in the same episode.
Joe wanted Kate to get a transfer. Obviously to save her life, but she wanted Kate to get a transfer.
Carmichael's the eye branders get a transfer. There's just so many transfers going on. Yeah, I suppose. How do we sort of see the next episode going?
I think it's going to be. It's going to go off of obviously. It's going to go off straight off the last one. I think he should be revealed straight away who died. We think he's Ryan. And then it'll probably be an investigation into the murder. I expect.
I think everyone's assuming that Ryan's dead, and I don't doubt there was Ryan that was shot. I'm saying there was Ryan. But there's also the possibility that Ryan isn't actually dead. It doesn't have to be a real shot.
Or I saw something that said Kate, Ryan, and Joe play up front for Brighton, and they all miss. But yeah, it's likely that Ryan was shot.
Graham Potter would be proud.
He's bloody Carmichael, I'm telling you.
No, you know what? Graham Potter kind of looks like fake Kate.
Graham Potter. See, I can't help myself, can I? We're on the line here Tuesday episode. Anyway, yeah, I mean, what were we talking about?
Graham Potter, of course.
The next episode. yeah, we'll start off with seeing Ryan being shot on the floor. Oh, I know what I said. They're all bright strikers and Nunez. But it's more likely that Ryan was shot, but whether he's dead or not is another thing. She could have just shot him in the leg. Though
Yeah.
John Corbett shot Hargreaves in the leg and he didn't survive it.
We shot him about 10 times with a bloody
You know, yeah, with a rifle.
You know what? Logically, if we're going what I said earlier about what we saw in the trailer with the the helicopters coming down, assuming it's that scene, I expect it will lead up there, and like I said, an investigation. I think the kind of the bulk of the first half of the episode will be based around the murder of, we presume, Ryan, but whoever died will be around the murder, or basically, and just an investigation genuine into what happened.
Yeah.
I think you were talking before about Kate and whether they'll investigate her. I don't think they will. There's two reasons I think that. Firstly, we've seen that there's a shot in the overall trailer for the series. It's the very first shot of the trailer, and it's Kate coming out of the back of a van in like a police a police vest. And she's got a gun. She's holding her up to someone. So, and we haven't seen that yet in the series. So she's definitely doing like frontline police work again in the series. So I doubt that there'll be lots of investigation into her. And also, I doubt she's a very smart officer. So I just assume that she would have recorded that.
Yeah.
So she'll be able to prove what actually happened.
Yeah.
I think there'll be some sort of investigation, but in terms of the actual murder, I don't think it'll go that deep. Because obviously we've seen what happened, and we presume Joe was the only witness who is now in the mud.
He is, well, potentially in the mud, potentially not in the mud. We hope he's in the mud, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But I can just see a situation between now and the end of the series where Kate's just no one trusts her because Joe's going to throw her in there, isn't she? Joe's not going to take the blame.
You know what? Going off of like the future of the show in general after season 6, of course, we presume Ted's leaving, obviously he's retiring, and there's a chance Steve either gets a transfer or who knows what happens with his back. So that just leaves Kate. So what we're saying with that,
she's not going to. There's not a chance if there's a series 7 that Kate is in murder investigation team. I'm telling you that much.
I need a Kate Fleming spin-off show.
Yeah, maybe. But a couple of sort of queries. Just want to ask your thoughts. Chris Lomax, thoughts on Chris?
I don't know.
He's fake dots, if you don't know his name.
Yes, definitely fake dots. Yeah, I barely know him. Like, I feel like he's had a sort of a minor part. I think that probably means we'll get more of him, but I don't know. It just seems like a standard background character so far.
A lot of
a lot of people have said he could be bent. I disagree. I'm very much of the school of thought now that Chloe and Chris have been introduced into Line of Duty. I haven't told you this, Aaron, actually, but I think that they've been introduced in Line of Duty to just generate more good people. There's been so many sort of Ben Coppers that have come on the scene in the last couple of series. It's got too much. I think Chris and Chloe have been introduced, so it shows us that there are good people around. I think Chris is just a good person.
Yeah, I think that will probably link into what Kate said to Steve earlier on, and that if you spend so much time in AC12 nicking Ben Coppers, then you
start believing it.
Yeah.
I was going to say something along the same lines. I don't think he's bent. I'll tell you the character I think he reminds me of a bit from a past series. Jody in series 4. I think he's got like a bit of a working relationship.
Oh, he's nowhere near as annoying.
No, I know that. I just think he's very loyal to Joe. I think
no one got on my nerves as much as
I agree with you on that. He doesn't annoy me, but I just think he's loyal to Joe. I think he probably told Joe the night that Terry got driven into the river. I think he probably told her that Kate had rung him before that, and that's why Joe was always suspicious from that point onwards. So yeah, I don't think he's bent, but I just think he's loyal to Joe, and because of that, he could be dragged through the mud a bit.
What do
On
we
that-
think happens to Farida?
Oh, them two just got her. Them two answering only yes or no. Do you think she's in the mud?
I feel like she'll
No.
be. I feel like she's either going to die or be released. I don't think they'll keep her in prison.
But I was just going to say on Chris Lomax. On that note, I tell you, he does remind me of. I don't know this man, your man from series 4 with Ross Huntley, and he dubbed Ross Huntley in it. The fella,
No idea what his name is, but I know who you mean.
you know him. Oh, what's his name? The fella who was with Ross Huntley's team, and he dubbed her in it. Don't know his name.
No, move on.
Do you know what I mean, Aaron?
No idea.
Remember Ross Huntley's team?
Yeah.
And you had Ross.
Remember.
You had Ross, Josie, the annoying one with the glasses,
Yeah.
and then you had Farida.
My mind's gone blank for the other fella.
Right, and then there was another man, but this other man
There was another
ended up,
fella.
and he ended up dubbing Ross Huntley, and the way he's just like a side character who's quite calm, and he seems to be sort of like
All right,
a
I've got
good person. Go on, what was his name?
from Google. DS Neil Twyla.
D.S. Neil Twyla. That's who he reminds me of. No one will know who that is. That's who he reminds me of.
You'll recognize the face.
Yeah, you probably will. But yeah, to me, I just think they're just.
Yes, I remember this fella. I've just looked
What?
up his name. Yeah, I remember this fella.
Yeah, that's who he reminds me of.
Yeah.
Yeah, Neil. What's his name? So he reminds me of Neil. Sorry,
Oh,
Neil.
Neil.
So significant I couldn't remember your name. Yeah, he's just a bit of an outsider. He's had a bit more of a significant role than Neil, but I feel like he's more important. I think he's of the same sort of idea that there's good people around.
One of the things people are talking about in terms of like evidence for him being bent is the thing about him not wanting to give his phone over. But I don't think you can read too much into that. Like, would anyone want to give the phone over? No one was really happy about it in the room, and it was more of like a trust thing because he thinks that Joe trusts him.
Plus, another thing as well. Kate's just come into MIT. We presume after Chris has joined. I think we presume Chris joined before Kate. He's a pretty senior sort of detective in the MIT, and it seems like all this decision making is going on behind his back. So I think that would quite annoy him. That's just my. I just think he seems a bit more pushed out than, oh, I'm bent and I don't want anyone seeing my phone.
Yeah, I don't think he's bent. I think at the moment he's very much just like a background character. So I'm intrigued to see if we see much more of him in the last couple of episodes.
Yeah, but that's as much as we're getting from him. On returning characters now, if I forgot a returning character, remind me. I'm just going to bring them all up. So we've had, in terms of obviously not the main cast, but the ones who've been mentioned. So we've had them two security guards, Lindsay's pals. We've had Patrick Fairbank, who's not looking very good these days, is he?
No.
Yeah, he's annoyed Steve. We know that much.
Yeah.
What do we think about him nowadays? Do we think he has genuinely forgotten now? Because I think he has. Whereas I think a few series
I think it's forgotten. Yeah. Was it dementia he had?
Yeah, he's just on his last season, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I think he had dementia, and obviously 3 years later, however long later, obviously, I mean, if it hasn't got better, it would have gotten worse. So, yeah, I think he's genuinely forgotten.
I think that when he first said no, I thought he was just having Steve on, but then when he pissed himself, I thought, nah, you're on your last leg, aren't you?
I was thinking he pissed himself. I was like, this fella's fucking frying, leave him alone.
He knocks me sick. He actually makes me feel sick. Even when he was like in this big sort of mansion in series 3, he just knocks me sick. I don't know. He
He
reminds
looks
me.
truly grim now.
I'm gonna get done for slander if I say this. So I'm not gonna say it, but he's just not a very nice sort of man, is he?
Nah.
Jimmy Lakewell, who's come back and he looks like he's had a year in Benetton by the sound of it. He's got a lovely tan. He's, he's yeah, and then he ended up dying within an episode. Why didn't he just accept the witness protection? He already told Steve about Lawrence Christopher.
Yeah, I think he probably assumed that nobody would mess with him now that he's kind of gone away and not said anything. But I mean, maybe he's underestimated prison and the people in prison. He's not considering however long he spent in there.
He's responsible for one of my favourite lines of the series. Always attempting, never achieving. Amazing. Yeah, so we had a very brief sort of return of Jimmy Lakewell. Though I knew as soon as I heard his voice.
With Lakewell, do we think we're going to see much more Buckles? Because obviously Buckles seemingly replaced Lakewell's self.
Yeah, we haven't seen the last of Buckles, definitely. Especially with his face turning up on Marcus Farewell's old team with Lawrence Christopher. We haven't seen the last of him, definitely.
He looks so cute and innocent in the prison cell.
Oh, he's just an absolutely big Wally, isn't he? He just
he has no clue what he's doing. He's just a big dope and he's told.
That's genuinely so scary from her that he's in prison, having watched a fellow cellmate be killed right in front of him, and he's got no idea what he's doing there.
Did you see him holding the milk and shaking it?
Yeah.
Oh, another brilliant line of the series from it. Well, he's got loads actually. I don't know why I don't know.
He doesn't know why he doesn't know. Just total bastard.
I think Buckles would be killed. I think it's similar fashion to Hargreaves. I think he's gone. He's a goner.
He's a goner. Definitely doesn't know anything.
I wouldn't be so sure about that because I don't think he knows anything, so he's not a big danger to them.
No, but nobody knows that. Lee Banks and with collusion of the prison guards try to kill Jimmy Lakewell. He knows and he knows something.
I think it's similar. Like he was a witness to a murder that the police don't know how it happened. I think from that, if he's the only witness, he's going to die.
He is 100% ending this series. I will put money on that. He gets released, and you know the credits when they roll at the end of series 6, and they tell you where every character's up to. We're going to get a credit roll at the end of series 6 saying Ian Buckles is living off benefits in a council flat or something. That's what we're ending it with, because he's not going to get another job where he's not being placed into it. He is so stupid. He just doesn't help himself, does he?
It was annoying before. Now it's just kind of cute.
No, he's just an right idiot.
Yes.
I can't believe people actually think he could be H.
Steve summed it up perfectly. Another superb line. He couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery.
There we go.
I hope he gets
too much credit.
I hope he gets released from prison and he goes back into the police force and gets demoted to a police constable, where he belongs.
Oh, where he belongs.
No, he'd have to do some work.
No, actually, a PCSO.
Oh yeah, he's ending back up on some sort of. He'll end. Who was that? The girl in series 1 who worked on the computer?
Rita.
Oh, Rita, yeah.
Rita. He's ending up on the sickness benefits with Rita. They're sharing the same bed system.
It's a match made in heaven.
Amazing. Yeah, poor Rita. We never saw her again either.
No. By the way, slightly off topic. Do we think Chloe is the Chloe in series 1, Gates' daughter?
No.
I'd say no. I wouldn't rule her out though, because.
Would this not have come up through vetting? And it's not like she's trying to hide anything, is it?
I mean,
I thought
that would be kind of a cool little plot line. You know how I feel like it would work for the story, and that a dad got killed. She presumes going to line of duty, so she kind of want to become a police officer when she's death. I don't know. I don't think she is, but I think that'd be kind of cool.
I don't think there would be. I don't think there'd be any like red flags or anything saying she couldn't join the force
Yeah.
just
No,
because her dad got killed. And I think, like you said, I think it would work. Like trying to avenge her dad's death. And yeah, another thing, we don't know what happened to that family after series 1.
Yeah.
So
Jules,
they very realistically could have like changed the name, so that's why she's Bishop.
Yeah. There's also a lot of callbacks to previous series. So I won't be too surprised.
yeah, it's possible. I just don't think it is true.
Yeah, I agree with that. Possible, but probably not.
I'm gonna sort of ask for predictions of how this series ends now. The one thing I will say before we get into that is, please, I just want to see Jill Bigelow or Nigel Morton before the end of the series.
It's too good to be true.
That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah.
Nigel Morton or Jill Bigelow. They are
Together?
amazing.
Together. Yes.
But he's in Spain, isn't he? So how can he be?
We don't know where Jill Bigelow is.
No,
Jill's
she's in
in
Witness
Preston,
Protection, isn't
isn't she?
Is she?
Say that again.
She's in some shithole.
Yeah. Oh, imagine that. She lived the life of luxury before she got put into witness protection. She'll be fuming.
Quite funny.
She's
though,
got
for being honest.
she's got a nice sea view at least.
That is the spin-off show I want to see. Jill Bigelow rotting in hell.
Oh no, Jill should have her own show, like one of those shows on ITVB.
Oh, it's such a laugh.
I bet you any money she's got some fingers in the pies of Steph Corbett's hairdresser's place. I bet
She gets
she
her hair
even
done
goes.
somewhere, doesn't she?
What?
She gets her hair done somewhere.
Yeah. It won't be Steph Corbett's place, put it this way. Yeah, and Steph Corbett, what do we think? She's so.
It's really just a question of. It's really just a question of is she there to shag Steve?
No, but she's so dodgy though.
Yeah.
She's got about 400 grand hiding up in the attic. She thinks BT Sport is as cheap as chips, which I'm sorry though. But then there was a thing last episode where she went outside to take the phone call. Why? What she if she wouldn't just go outside to hide the phone call from the kids? Who's in that house?
It's a massive house. She could have gone anywhere in there. That was really on my mind before. Like I can't really think of where it could be. I saw a suggestion there it could be Ted, but Ted's working in the Midlands.
He's got a long journey every morning.
I know. I have no idea.
Though I did hear once that she lives on the hill because there was a hill, so she lives on the hillside police station. No, she lives in Liverpool, definitely. So someone's living in that house that no one's supposed to know of.
You're talking about Steph still?
Yeah, someone's living in Steph.
That's a bit of a theme then, isn't it? Because a lot of people, me included, think someone or something is in Joe's flat.
I've gone off that now.
Yeah, I was going to mention, do you think she's hiding anything else? Well, obviously she had the laptop with the OCG. And do you think
I just think it's some sort of safe house for her to be bent in.
I just think that the camera work in that flat has been like so precise, and there's like
never been upstairs.
No, that's what I was going to say. There's massive areas that we've never seen. It's always just that table. Okay, we've seen the fridge, but there's like a corner of that room that we've never seen. We've never seen.
We also don't know who that person in the picture was. You should do it last time.
Yeah, good point.
It was Samantha Davidson and mum.
Yeah, probably.
Well, we presume so anyway. We don't know, but presume it's a mum.
Presumably, that could be like Tommy's wife or something.
The big question left with Joe's personal life is why is she so angry at her mum?
Yeah.
We know that Tommy Hunter and her mum were brother and sister.
Yeah.
So
and there's a few things that could have gone on there. One of them could have abused the other, or they could both be the victims of abuse in like a care home or something like that.
Yeah.
I reckon Tommy abused them both. And her mum started by him anyway, and that's why she didn't like her mum.
Maybe. Yeah. I just don't think we've heard the end of this care home things. I think that's the centre of everything.
Remember, we'll keep going back to it. We still haven't worked our way through that list yet. Only take
No.
like 2 off.
I thought Marcus Fairwell was on the list, but you informed me that he wasn't.
Yeah,
He was just the SIO on investigating the
Yeah.
abuse, weren't he? So
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's his name? Stevens Lloyd is
Oliver
SIO.
Stevens, is there. He's definitely dodgy, that Fairwell fella, but yeah.
He wasn't on the list, and if he was an abuser, he would have been, because Waldron was quite comprehensive with that list, wasn't he?
Steve gave an explanation for why that list wasn't fully investigated, didn't he? He said because he got the top man, Fairbank, that he didn't think to investigate anymore. The sort of case had expired, but he at some point, I think he said to Chloe in the car park or after about why didn't he investigate Fairwell. He said he just retired and he'd already got Fairbank, so he didn't see the point of going through anything more.
I don't remember that.
He did. He said. Chloe said, "Why didn't he investigate Fairwell?" And that was his explanation.
Mm.
Yeah, but
Steve was he was quite loyal to Danny in the end, wasn't he?
Yeah, he liked Danny. Yeah, so before we finish, how do we see the season ending? Do we think that there's going to be an episode 6 and then an episode 7, or like me, do we think episode 7 could be a flashback episode?
I agree.
How do you mean by flashback?
Like, so all the loose knots of series 1 to 7 we see in just like flashbacks about the ambush, all this.
So it'll be like the end of a trilogy, like wrapping everything up together.
No, so let's say, for argument's sake, Osborne's H, all the things he's conducted through the time he's been in line of duty. So like Kareem Ali, and then maybe the ambush and all the stuff with Danny Waldron, and then Operation Trapdoor. We just see it all in a flashback episode. Essentially
like the end of the last episode of series 2.
Yeah, but a full episode.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I mean, I think I don't know. The reason I disagree with that is just because I think there's still so much to get through. We still don't have the murder of Gail. We've got obviously the whole age thing. We've now got the thing between Ryan and Kate. I think there's just so much to get through that. That's kind of why there's an extra episode.
The only thing that makes me think that is if this is the last series, that would make sense to tie it all up in a flashback episode. Plus, on IMDb, which we're not going to give much credit for because those three could have gone on there and edited it. But Roz Huntley and Dot have been given credit for the last episode. Now, obviously, Dot's definitely dead and Roz Huntley's in prison. So I just think it could be some sort of flashback, sort of. I'm probably talking.
Yeah. No, I think I don't think it's true that Dot and Roz is going to be in the last episode. But if they are in the episode, I think it's likely to be a flashback episode.
Yeah, me too. And that's the only thing that makes me think, okay, because they've said before the series started for episode 1, they credited Steph Corbett and the cybercrime Amanda in the episode. Now we thought that would be nonsense. They're not in it; they're just being credited because IMDb anyone can edit it, but they were actually in it. So it's not been like total nonsense throughout the series. They've got some things right, and I think if they got that right, maybe in some sort of flashback sense, Dot and Roz could be in the last one. Unless they interview Roz in prison and we just see another version of Dot's dying declaration.
This time he's doing Morse code with the other hand as well.
This time he's just
Morse code with his feet, he's closing his eyes, he's doing all sorts.
While we're on the topic of Dot with Morse code and stuff, I'd just like to point out that I still believe that that's an absolute load of bollocks. Because if he was saying, like, we've come to the conclusion now that he wasn't saying H, he was saying 4. But the thing is, if he was saying 4, why wouldn't he just put 4?
You know what? Though? I think we discussed this in the first preview before the series started. Why would he say all this anyway? Because like, he was part of the OCG. Was he just guilty? Like, what forced him to do the declaration in the first place?
Well,
But
I think he
dying,
was
isn't he?
I think
So
he
we
was
just
never he never wanted to be part of the OCG really. I think if he was given the option to be like a completely straight police officer and face no repercussions for it, I think he would have taken that up. I think he was a good man, and I think that's why he did it when he was dying.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just felt it happened after everything that happened. I just thought it was kind of. I remember at the time watching. I thought he was being chased by Kate. He was trying to get away. He was trying to kill people, and now he's basically giving all the information to Kate. I don't know. I agree with what you said. I just think it was a bit odd at the time.
I don't know. I just don't think that dying declaration was saying, "Oh look, there's 4 different people involved in the OCD." There's
It's
way
too
more
obvious.
than 4.
I think it's too obvious.
Plus, it just doesn't make any sense for there to be only 4. There's so many corrupt officers.
You know what? I think what we're saying. I think this fuels the hillside theory because that would make more sense for all the police officers to come out of one place.
Yeah. I did say that at the start of the series that I think with Hillside being introduced, it could be that. I'm unsure now, but I don't know.
I think there are a lot of bent officers in Hillside, but I don't think that's like I'm not sure if Dot was even trying to say anything, but if he was, I don't think that's like the big massive thing because we know that there's bent officers everywhere. There's been as many bent officers in AC12 as there has in Hillside, really. And all the officers in Hillside get moved about anyway. We know that Thirlwell was there once, but he was also in Polk Avenue and other stations as well. And it's not like it's like a training school or anything like that. There's a training school, so I don't put much stock into that theory.
Maybe no. Any final thoughts or theories before we wrap up?
I'm positive Joe's going to be in jail by the end of the series. Other than that, I don't really think we can say too much because, like I said, there's just so much to get through.
Yeah, agree. Anything else to add, Jake?
I partially agree with that. She's either going to die in the next episode or end up in prison.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Just say every possible thing that can happen. So when one of them happens, you go, "Hey, look,
she's going to survive. She's going to die, or she's going to end up in jail, dead or alive."
If I had to put my money on it, I think she's going to die.
Or she ends up in Spain with Nigel Moore, who isn't in Spain.
That is the spin-off we will need.
Yeah. I just want to see like a timeshare in Spain where there's all these sort of retired bent officers go and stay, where it's like Jill and Nigel and I think I don't know.
Bargain loving Brits in the sun.
Yeah.
Tony Gates back from the dead.
I just want like I don't know, like a program that's on the BBC, like the holiday program where they go and move to Australia. But they go to Nigel Moore in Spain and he's moving to Australia. And it's on the telly in AC12 and they all look up and Nigel and his wife are moving to Australia. Just find that'd be fun and really fun. I'm talking nonsense now, I must admit. But Nigel Morton he's gone from the series, but he's definitely not forgotten because we've spent about the last hour talking about him in various points.
My question is Nigel Morton or Sean Dyche?
Oh, that is the big question. Graham Potter or who do you like?
Who do I like? I think I was talking Graham Potter.
Yeah, fair enough. Plus, one thing before we finish, Rowan turned good. Are we agreeing? Is he a good person, Rowan?
Yeah, I think he's a good. I think him resigning is kind of the end of him. Even being involved with Ben Coppers, I think that's kind of the end of that.
Yeah, I agree. He seems so genuine in that scene. Either he was being completely genuine, or that's like the greatest double swerve in television history.
So do we reckon he was? Do we reckon he was doing stuff against his will from Andrea Wise?
Yeah, I do. I think it was because I remember rightly when we were introduced with Rowan, his sort of MO was he was elected as a police and crime commissioner as someone who was going to rot out corruption in the police force. We didn't see a lot of him doing it, but I think that's because his hands were tied. Plus, it wouldn't surprise me at all if evil psycho Andrea Wise had been the one who was putting Ted down all this time, and it wasn't Rowan, and he was just following orders. I think
more likely.
Yeah,
Andrea Wise was 100% Ben.
I wanted to like Rowan for a bit as well because I feel like he just seemed so out of his depth.
Also, we liked him from that series on BBC.
We did.
Three Girls.
Yeah, about the child sex abuse from Rotherham or Oldham. Rochdale. Got there.
Rochdale.
It was a northern town somewhere. But yeah, he was good in that, so I'm glad I like him in this now as well. So I remember saying at the time, I don't want to hate him in Line of Duty and like him in this.
Yeah.
So I kind of like him now. But I think we're done. We'll come back within the next 2 weeks at some point, whether it be after the last episode or just before. Hopefully Sam will join us next time.
Hopefully we won't be mourning Ted there.
And hopefully Jill Bigelow and Nigel Morton will be back.
Yes.
Together. That's key here. We want them together. Jed, if you're listening, we want them together.
Both wearing t-shirts saying immunity.
No, do you know what we need? We need Jill Bigelow, Nigel Morton, Lindsay Denton back from the dead.
Oh, wow.
Each 2 letters on each t-shirt spelling out immunity.
all under the tagline on the BBC preview: non-exclusive relationship with the truth. Oh, I missed them all. They're gone, but they're not forgotten. Interview terminated.